How's it going? Welcome back to the wonderful world of Skyrim. Most people have a certain playstyle and stick to it, and some playstyles they will never want to try, and for me, that's archery. I did it once and never did it again. I wanted to feel like a master archer, but missing 100 shots and still carrying 500 arrows didn't quite hit the mark for me. So I thought, what if I didn't have as many arrows? In fact, what if I had nearly none? Can you beat Skyrim with a single arrow? As always with these challenges, I must first head to the labs and fetch another fine specimen from the waste bin. What better potential than the Imperial? And a sad story it is for this fellow. He was born blind and very ugly, some may argue worse, and if salt to the wound, he was born with a massive red target on his forehead. He was called Bullseye. And now, with my avatar ready, I can go through the rules. The goal is to beat the main storyline and defeat Alduin. The only restrictions to this is that I can only use a bow and a single arrow. What this means is I can only carry one arrow at a time, but if I kill something with that arrow or it dies after I've shot it, I can collect it off of that person. If the arrow is deleted or can't be collected off of the body, I can go and collect another arrow. The difficulty is set to legendary. I cannot have any followers. Some quests have force followers, which I cannot avoid, but will be addressed. No saving. I'm not allowed to manually save, quick save, or save scum. And the last rule being of exchange arrows. If I find another arrow while carrying an arrow, I can choose to drop it in exchange for the arrow that I found. And with all that out of the way and my lanky fingies free, I quickly loot everything and sit back while Hadvar does all the work, until I'm able to get my first bow and arrow. Now, unfortunately, I will not be able to kill anything for a while because the damage of the longbow and an iron arrow is on par with shooting a toothpick with an elastic band. I need some supplies. So, I head to Riverwood and steal all Alvor will let me, talk to Lucan, and manage to get stuck in a barrel. But I'm able to slink my way out and it's off to Whiterun. But not before making a quick stop to Bleak Falls Barrow before confronting the Jarl. I assume the position while they try to discuss politics, and I'm told to retrieve the Dragonstone. Wasting no time, I head straight back to Bleak Falls and run past most of the enemies. Pretty standard stuff, all the way until the first spider web. Now, any normal player can just whack away the webs, but in my case, there is one small issue. My arrow gets deleted when I shoot the web. Bit of an issue with the skeevers nibbling my feet. I need to leave, but I'm still left with the issue of the webs. I need to get through them, but my arrows get deleted when shooting it and I can't bash the webs away. So what's left to do? Well, the only thing I can do really, head to the Drunken Huntsman in Whiterun and buy another arrow. Run back, shoot it, and head back to buy another arrow. As annoying and time consuming as this method is, it's the only solution to this problem, but I can't deal with the skeevers, so I start training them to the Dart Trap room. It's very inconsistent, but it's also much more effective than I first thought it would be, so all around it's quite a lifesaver. And with all the skeevers dealt with, I can now waste more time on the web and come to the realization that if I couldn't kill a bandit, then there is no way I'm going to be able to deal with the spider inside. So I just sneakily shoot down Orville, enough that I can just run past and let him get eaten by Draugr. And luckily, there's another trap here, and I can use this to sort them out. And I keep doing this, dodging and weaving through until I'm able to lead the Draugr Overlord through the traps a few times, and collect the Dragonstone. I return the Golden Claw to Lucian for a cash injection for my next capitalist venture, Alchemy. I can't ever hope to deal enough damage with a bow alone. What better method than performance enhancing drugs, or in my case, performance destroying poison. And with my first set of poisons, it's time for my next target. Not the dragon, but to Windhelm, to start the Dark Brotherhood questline. Sounds weird, but it is essential later on, and I can get some much needed upgrades. And after skewering the nice orphanage lady, I then plant the murder weapon and steal a shiny new Imperial bow. I continue to do alchemy until I receive a strange letter from the party cult. So I sleep for an hour and wake up in the party shack, annoying for the fact that I was kidnapped and transported within an hour across the map. I kill the cat inside and take the execution hood for later fun. Now a part of the Dark Brotherhood, I have access to my next set of armor and access to Babette, which sells the best poison ingredients. So with that, I level my alchemy some more and head off to do some contracts for more money. However, I'm reminded of the fact that everything has way more health than it should, and even with a sneak attack and a poison that deals a total of 274 damage, it is not enough to kill a basic NPC. So, in defeat and shame, I recluse into the Goon Sanctuary and continue to level my alchemy in a dark corner until I reach level 60 alchemy. Only took about 100 days, nothing special, super cool, didn't waste any time. And with a nice alchemy necklace to help, I can make a far more advanced poison dealing 374 damage, which can actually kill a basic homeless farmer. Progress has never been so sweet, but also so soul-shattering. I purchase a much better dwarven bow with a flame enchant on it that helps me seal the rest of the contracts. After a few hours of struggle, I'm finally able to hit my stride and get a little more comfortable. Enough so that I do the first real contract and talk to Muri in Markarth. With my poison, I'm able to easily kill both of her targets and get my prize, a ring, which fortifies my alchemy a little further. This was one of my big stepping stones, and I feel as though I can now fight the first dragon. I set my sights for the Western Watchtower, running ahead of Irilith, and wait for my worthy combatant. Flying over the top of the tower, shaking the very ground, I bide my time and get into the perfect position, apply my poison, staring into more of the beast I fire. And its health bar doesn't even move. The damage I did is so little that I can't tell if its health is going down or if it's a placebo. I didn't even scratch its scales. I am less than a flea to this thing. So what else to do when you can't trust Irilith? Get the nearby giants to deal with the problem. And after some training, on my way back to Whiterun, ready to take all the credit for the kill, my conscience talks to me. Or it's screaming from the upstairs neighbors in High Hrothgar. I decided they need to learn a lesson for my ignorance, and after being granted immunity to the police by the Jarl, I make my way up the 7,000 steps. Lodging into the sacred temple, they instead tell me that I might be the chosen one, but first they must hear how loud I am. It turns out I'm just loud enough for them to teach me the ancient dragon shouts, also known as the dragon slurs. I'm given the task of collecting the sacred hearing aids in the bowels of Sovngarde. But before I can even catch my breath, a bunch of cultists find me, trying to sell me insurance that I'll never need. No thank you, I do not want alien abduction insurance. That is a real thing, by the way, look it up, I was also stunned. But after some supplies, I sneak my way into Sovngarde, Dark Brotherhood armor giving me a massive advantage in the dark corridors. I even managed to defeat an already low health mage. Now with the dwarven bow with a flame enchant, the puny skeletons should be no problem. Oh. So it turns out all of these skeletons drink 23.8 pails of milk a day and have indestructible bones. That or I am super weak. I have never failed to kill a skeleton in this game. It is honestly quite insulting. Luckily, I'm able to use a fire trap nearby to sort them out. And being confronted with the reality that I truly am that weak, I managed to make it to the spider's den. With 2 more sets of webs. Yeah, alright, sure. Finally making it through, I find a note left to me by the repulsive creature known as Delphine. I rent the attic room, and it is not as kinky as I would have hoped for. As opposed to being strapped down, she just tells me boring stories, but wants me to help her slay a dragon. Ah, yes, my greatest skills, which I claimed credit for. But before that, I must fight the insurance cultist in the middle of town. But luckily, the townspeople people agree that they are also better off without them. So it's a rather quick ordeal. I make some powerful potions in preparation for the fight and find myself in Kyne's Grove. With nothing but some potions and a dream, I summon my bow, an arrow, and let loose another legendary shot, which actually makes the health bar move. And unfortunately, with all my help that I can do done, I must let Delphine do the rest of the fighting, and she's already dead. Another impressive display from someone from a dragon hunter society. However, my old friends the giants are nearby, and it just so happens to actually be able to do damage. Great work guys, hit the springs. Now, with the dragon menace dealt with, it's time to party at the Thalmor embassy. Sneaking past is very easy with some sneak armor and an invisibility potion to make it into the main building, where I rummage around all the containers and find a secret diary that leads me to the basement. And like the spy I am, I leave every trail that I have been here. I managed to get the best streak of luck by only stealing everything without being seen, and also plucking both keys back into the world without getting caught. That was by far the easiest time I've ever had in an embassy. That only took about 15 minutes. Skimming through the diaries, I've obtained the location of Esbern. The old wise man is sleeping in the sewers of Riften, like other great philosophers in history. I waste no time in getting to the Ratways, and even kill an archer out front all by myself. The rest of the Ratway is uneventful, until I find Esbern. Yet again he tells me prophecies that Delphine was telling me, and honestly I'm getting a little sick of it. But he does tell me that it is my destiny to defeat Alduin. We start to leave and are confronted with a Thalmor. Esbern deals with the wizards as I take out the foot soldiers one by one, escaping and making it back to Riverwood. Now with Esbern and his foresight, he is able to lead us to the ancient grounds of Alduin's Wall, Skyhaven Temple, hidden behind a bunch of Forsworn. However, I'm able to make it past most of the weak ones and do some simple puzzles. Get a little frisky with the blood door, and I'm told that the ancients used a dragon slur to bring down Alduin. Now, with a near impossible task, I set out to find this ancient slur. Who would have guessed, but the keeper of slurs in High Hrothgar may know of it, but they said that I must speak to the oldest among them, waiting at the top of the mountain for me. And with the clear skies shout, I make my way to the throat of the world, find the dragon Parthenax, who tells me another story because nothing can be done in the present, of the ancient heroes and a way to contact them, being the Elder Scroll. It just so happens that I can find all the information in the local library at the Magic School of Winterhold, home of failed experiments and student deaths. I might need to rewrite that one one's still a little too close to the original. Talking to my favorite orc, and then shortly after heading over to my favorite asylum patient, and then to my next favorite place, the Dwemer Ruins. As much as I hate the Falmer, I'm able to sneak past them no issue this time, and I'm able to make it to Blackreach, quickly into the tower, treat the delicate machinery as well as a roided gorilla, and retrieve the Elder Scroll. I am so lucky that this just happens to be the exact scroll that is needed. Like, man, I'm so happy that the fate of the entire world wasn't based on this being the exact scroll that I would need to see back into the past. Unfortunately, this is only one of the big ticket items that I need to fight Alduin. There are still 2 more items needed to finish this off, but I'm going to need a better bow first. This dwarven one has served me well, but it's time to invoke the power of smithing. After many tears and another 200 in-game days, I have forged a mighty ebony bow, going from a measly 13 damage to a massive 30. Yeah, I'm a little disappointed with the results as well, but I can enchant it and head back to continue the Dark Brotherhood. Now with Cicero and jumping into coffins. I love how little sense everything makes in the Dark Brotherhood, but if it means that I get to be pointed as being the listener of the assassins, I'm game. I'm given my next set of contracts, but I ignore my duties entirely, instead cleansing myself and heading to join the Dawnguard. Reason for that? The Dawnguard have a very special weapon called Ariel's Bow. The next few things are kinda boring, so I'm gonna shotgun them real quick. I speedrun freeing Serana with the help of an invisibility potion, return her to her home, deny the gift of being a vampire lord and sent back, and I'm told to find 2 people who can help the order. I know I've been all over the map at this point, but helping Gunmar with the bears is torture, and takes longer than I would honestly like to admit. Get annoyed by a dragon when trying to convince Serene, and then told to find a moth priest. No issue, just head to the Four Bears hideout, sneak past the death dogs, sneak attack the vampire leader? Well, that was unaccounted for. Well, nothing like some more smithing can do the trick. Another 200 days, and I've reached level 100 smithing, and I can make a 108 damage Daedric bow. That's the kind of upgrade I'm talking about. And a massive mess along with the way.
Hey, you dropped this back there.
By a glass arrow and return to finish him off. Then I head back to Fort Dawnguard and train my archery up to 30 so I can level damage and critical shot, which increases my damage by 50% to make up the remaining damage, but with only a 10% chance of it working, so now all I need is that 10% chance. All I need to do is shoot him over and over again and finish him off. However, when I finally get the crit, it doesn't add any damage. Honestly, I thought I was losing my mind, but no, it did hit It just turns out that the critical damage is based off the base damage of the bow, which means it doesn't take into account smithing, improvement, enchantments, not even the archery perk. So the crit actually only adds 7 damage. You know what? Fuck this guy. I'm done. I'm done doing this shit. I'm gonna keep doing the Dark Brotherhood questline. Deal with the next targets, an orc bard and a vampire. Then, a blushing bride to never be. Spend many more days getting alchemy to level 100. And now with many more enchantments, I'm going to just kill Gaius Maro. Are you serious? No, I'm done. That's it. They want to play this way? Fine by me. I got time. I got so much time on my hands. I have so much time to waste on nothing. I can make this just as painful for him as everything has been just as painful for me. Hours spent getting ingredients, materials, forging, mixing, enchanting. I am already sick, but I need to go the extra mile to kill this singular NPC. And after just barely breaching the 1,000-day mark in-game, I've been able to level my smithing, alchemy, and enchanting to level 100. And I've made a better Daedric bow with the new base damage of 248, made potions to rival ambrosia, and poisons dealing up to 762 damage. And I enchanted my greatest set of armor, with the centerpiece being my now enchanted Executioner's Hood. This mask now means more than a hood. It's a testament to how much time I have wasted doing this stupid challenge, and I am now the clown. But now there is no more possible prep I can do for this. It's time to see if it all mattered. I head back to Dragon's Bridge and follow Maro all the way to Markarth. But once he is in the city, the preparations don't disappoint me. Becoming a true assassin and waiting in the shade-covered rooftops, he doesn't even have time to react before he meets the stairs, and I leave the city through the front gate. Next, it's time for the chef in the very same city, much easier than the commander, and after that, it's off to find the final target I need to take out. A lone orc sits underneath a tavern. I need not be stealthy for this one, and with all that done, I can finally go and retrieve the item I've been after since the beginning of this run. The ingredient known as Jarren root. But why go through all the hassle just for this one ingredient? Why go through 99% of the Dark Brotherhood for that? Well, this ingredient has the instant damage trait for poison. For example, the poisons I use are made from Impstool, Chokeberry, and Riverbeddy. Each has a multiplier on damage, and the poison will only take the highest. Normally, this would be the Riverbeddy with a 3 times damage multiplier, but Jarren root has a multiplier of 100. I need that kind of damage solely for the Alduin fight. With a health pool that high, nothing else would work. So keep in mind that my current poisons deal 61 damage every second for 10 seconds and 152 flat damage. With Jarren root, it's 61 damage per second, but a new flat damage of 6,090 for a total of 6,700 damage. Very satisfying. And running on fumes, I pull out the Elder Scroll at the throat of the world, and from watching the ancient hero, I'm able to learn the Dragon Slur Dragonrend. And now with Alduin giving a really long and boring speech, I don't really know what he's saying, I shout both him and Paarthurnax to the ground, where I load the poison onto my arrow and fire. And is left on only half health. It might just be enough to work. With Paarthurnax fighting, all I need to do is stun Alduin with Dragonrend and distract and heal up whenever necessary. It's a long and grueling battle of attrition against my health and potion reserves and Alduin's fire and wing smacks. But eventually, he falls. With no time to lose, I head straight to Jarl Balgruuf to ask for his aid in trapping a dragon in his home. He reasonably assumes I'm off the finest of laced skoomers, but I'm able to convince him to come to a truce meeting with General Caesar from Fallout and Evil Racist Template 3 at High Hrothgar. Of course, this is the man you want leading any truce meeting, wearing devil's armor and an execution hood. I managed to learn the very specific slur to one specific dragon, to call Odavig, and after calling him and trapping him in the kink shame device, I make a deal with him, and we make our way over to Skaldarfen. Upon reaching the mountain steps, I massively overestimate my health and take about most of it in a single swipe, but I'm able to sneak my way through the rest of the temple. The webs up ahead are an issue, and no one is holding a bow, so I pick a random Draugr and wing it. Finally, some luck going my way. I make it through the spiders, killing one every time it's blocking my path, and heading back to retrieve some more arrows. I reach the Draugr Overlord, another dabble of potions, and... oh, you have got to be okay, you know what? No big deal. There is a dart trap here, with a delay, and a very shy Draugr Overlord that doesn't want to cross the door to prevent the exact thing that I am going to do. Okay, just give me 1 second. It's not like I've wasted enough time. Okay, finally! I will not talk about how that was one of the worst hours of Skyrim I have ever played. But now with that finally done and the Diamond Claw retrieved, I can rush past the Dragon Priest and enter Sovngarde. Once again making my way through the Soul Snare and to the Hall of Valor, where Sun waits outside. Luckily, a single arrow is just enough to gain entrance into the halls and meet the 3 heroes that random NPCs will still interrupt for some reason. I don't know why they couldn't code a single pathing way to make this a little better before heading out into the final battle. Using the Clear Skies shout, Alduin is called down and forced to challenge us. Bring him down with Dragon Rend, and like Parthenax, I time the shout to perfectly stun him and continue this grueling process. Even when all of the heroes fall, I use the terrain to my advantage, but he deals so much damage. It is another battle of attrition far worse than any I've ever done. Sometimes he will lose more health, sometimes I lose more supplies in each engagement, and this continues for what feels like hours and days, weeks and months. And then he is sent to a near-death state. One issue remains. My fight with Sun, I had to shoot him, but I didn't get that arrow back, and I don't believe you can get that arrow back. So I can't actually deal the final blow with an arrow. How hilarious that would all come down to this. So unfortunately, I had to run up to the great beast and bash him to finish the run. I can now rest easy, knowing that you can beat Skyrim with only a single arrow. And with all of my missions finished, I can retreat to my mess of bows underneath the bridge. Thank you all so much for watching, and sorry for the wait on this one. It took a lot out of me, but man did it feel so good to finally beat it. And I've never leveled the crafting abilities so quickly. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, it would really help me out. And if you would like to see more of these kinds of challenges, check out the rest of my channel, and let me know if there's anything you would like to see me play. Thank you all again, this has been Boot Gobbo, and I'll see you in the next one.